Okay, well, that's what you've got when you're dealing with God. You've got people who are pretending to know what no one even can know. It would be an honest belief. If you sat here and you talked to me about your God and you said, I believe, as a preference to all of the details that you give, then it would be honest. It would still be baseless. It would still be unsupported by evidence of any kind, but at least would be an honest statement. When you omit, preface, I believe, it becomes a dishonest statement to then sit here and tell me all these details about a thing you can't even prove exists. And that's my stance on that.
I mean, I can't keep in mind that just because this and this argument, the Kalam argument I tried to present earlier is on top of morality, on top of all of those, just because you don't find them convincing does not necessarily mean that nobody does, or that I'm being dishonest. Maybe I believe that maybe I am convinced by those arguments, and they are enough for me to show that God does exist, and that things like that, sterilization is enough for me to show that God, to show that the God that exists is indeed the God of the Bible, and folded mountains, and maybe in my view, do prove a global flood, and maybe all of this is simply that, is not that I'm being dishonest and claiming something to be true that I don't have.
You're just gullible, that's all that it is. And you have a low burden of proof. That's all it is. You've got a poor standard of what constitutes evidence. You're gullible.
Yes. Purple. Sorry, gentlemen. Just 1 second. We're going to move on. But Purple, I think John's comment, which is also the subject matter of the next video, which I keep on trying to finish but never get around to. I think that what you're doing is simply applying a different standard of proof in relation to God than you would do in everyday life. But thank you very much for the call. It's been very interesting. We are going to move on. I've got another 3 people already waiting, and I know that others want to join us. Thank you very much for calling in, Purple, and do feel free to do so again. But for now, thank you.
It's Puppy Turtle, not Purple Turtle, whatever.
Oh, Purple Turtle's one of those games you get free on. Or is that no? That's it doesn't matter.
No, you're thinking of Yogurt Slayers.
Puppy Turtle is one of those who thinks that Nephilim is some sort of genius.
Okay. Anyway, we're moving straight on. I'm sorry. I hope the other callers are still online. Just so you know, we've got Tony next, then Javier, and then Oliver. And I will accept further contact requests if we get through these calls quickly. Tony, are you with us?
Hello, please.
Retard.
Goodbye, retard. Next caller.
Don't you at least screen these calls?
I have no means of screening them. I've got to rely on their credibility. I don't know. But that's 2 in one show. I have to say I'm surprised we haven't had more in the past. But,
it was the same guy or girl or whatever.
Maybe he has ambiguous genitalia. Who knows?
But he comes from the androgynous zone.
Let's see if we have any more luck with this one.
Hello?
Hello? Oh, yes.
Yeah, you're on the show. We can hear you.
All right. I'd like to ask, many conservatives often relate atheism to the left wing or communism. I don't understand why, but what do you think that is?
Wait, they equate leftism and communism, you said?
No, they equate atheism to the left or communism.
Well, I mean, okay, communist regimes have. Yeah, I mean, there is some. Is there not some basis in there? I mean, okay, I would say that if I actually don't know the statistics, but it would be interesting to see how atheists lean politically. My guess would be that if they're atheists, they are probably not going to side with the party of religious fanatics. So yeah, I could certainly see them leaning left.
Yeah, but there's still libertarians also.
Yeah, they don't count.
Why?
I mean, atheists traditionally make a complete political spectrum, which is why whenever anyone's trying to make an atheist party, the thing self-destructs even before it's even started.
It's like herding cats.
Yeah, exactly. There is just so little that ties these people together, other than their lack of belief in a god. You get the fiscal conservatives, you get the cultural conservatives, you get your libertarians, and you get your leftists. And trying to hold that together in some sort of political context is,
don't forget Raelians,
challenging.
Yeah,
Traditionally, this goes back to the sort of the Cold War, where Russia was communist, and they were atheist was their sort of state method of running the country, or their state lack of belief, if you want. And they were the evil guys, and that's essentially the brand image that atheism has maintained in America to this day.
Also, so that's probably why, because people still have a little bit of the Red Scare in them. That's why they would call atheist communist. But that's just my guess.
It's been perpetuated in our culture, yes. I mean, there's always this negativity to certain words that we've done this word association conditioning.
Yeah,
so that, I mean, atheism and socialism and left wing, they're all kind of intertwined because they keep repeating in that way.
And they've all had a negative connotation, particularly with the Cold War. I mean, they associate the two because they're loaded words. It's like if I said Nazi vegetarianists, you know what I mean? Because Hitler was a Nazi. Yes, these Nazi vegetarians are, you're like, no, not necessarily, but it's a loaded word to make vegetarian sound bad. So, I mean, but Hitler was a vegetarian. I just thought I would throw that out.
It's just gone by in comments that, Jesus was a socialist. And yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are several of the parables that Jesus tells that would put him into the hardline communist, in that there's the parable of the workers in the field, where the people turn up early in the morning and say, Master, we want to go and work in the field. And he says, all right, go and work in the field. I'll pay you at the end of the day. And and this goes on throughout the day, making it a very long, boring parable, until the guys who come at the 11th hour, the last hour, and they say, can we go and work in the field? And he says, yes, go work in the field. And then they all come and get paid. And he gives them all exactly the same amount. And the parable's meant to be that everyone gets exactly the same in heaven. But I mean, that's essentially your communist ideal. Everyone gets the same.
I also have another question. What do you think would happen if you guys just left YouTube? You stop making videos, close your accounts. Do you think creationism would get stronger?
I think
I will allow you to, but I think that it's somewhat fanciful to think that we are metaphorically having our thumbs in the dam, so to speak. But it's a very kind compliment in a way. Aaron.
Yeah. Now, Thunderfoot and I are fortunate in that we got in on the wave, so to speak. There have been a lot of really talented people that have come in after us. I mean, there's a lot of people that know their subject matter so much better than I do. And at some point in this show, I intend to do a shout out for some of these people. There's some really brilliant people out there. And Thunder and I could go off and do much more lucrative things, later on in life. And I'm sure both of us hope to. And other people that just coincidentally happen to come in a little bit later than we did will continue this. And the movement's going to spread, not for anything that we had to do with it. Okay? It's going to spread because most people don't react to myself or to him. Most people react to the idiocy that evangelical creationism forces on people. That's where we came from. That's where all these other people are coming from. And that's my answer.
Yeah, I mean, the way that I see it is that we've essentially snagged a market share for, if you like, the rationalists on YouTube. Now, the creationists have essentially had their asses handed to them at every turn on the way. And as YouTube has got a more and more aggressive attention economy, creationism is just a non-entity in this. No one actually cares about it. So they atrophy non-linearly compared to the rationalists, just like that. But yeah, I think you have to bear in mind that whilst on YouTube these guys have had their asses handed to them time and time again, in mainstream America the numbers have scarcely changed. And seeing as civilizations are essentially a summation of the attitudes of the people within those civilizations, that if we don't do anything, nothing will change. It's that simple, right? So in other words, if you want to change, you have to put the effort in. And whilst the efforts of any individual might make a tiny have a tiny effect on shifting this equilibrium, it is the summation of all the people doing this that actually will change our attitudes over time. And that's why I think it's important that we do what we do. I mean, it's very easy to say, well, yeah, but you're just one person. What possible effect could you have? But it's the summation of all of those incremental actions that will actually change societies over time. So I think it's actually fairly important what we actually do here. I mean, it might seem that, like pissing in the ocean, but ultimately, if no one does it, nothing will change. And I think there is a need for things to change.
I kind of have to go, but I'm a big fan of you guys, and thanks.
Thanks very much for the call. Just whilst I'm bringing in the next person, the efforts that anyone can make on YouTube obviously have to be put in the balance when you consider, for example, that the Noah's Ark theme adventure park or whatever it is. I'm not sure they've yet got all the money, but I mean, was it about 150
million?
100? I thought it was more.
Million.
It's not a particularly level playing field in that regard. I think we're going, I hope, to Oliver.
I'm back. Sorry, my computer keeps shitting the bed. I apologize. Can anyone hear me?
Unfortunately, we can. But,
okay.
Oh, lordy. We've got them all in tonight. Are you a troll, Oliver, or have you got a serious point?
I'm Warrior Christian 1994. You can find me on YouTube. Again, that was Warrior Christian 1994.
Yeah, have you got a point apart from self-promotion?
Yes, I would like to argue that without God, we would be succumbing to our desires. If there was no God, I would be raping and killing people.
So you want to rape and kill people? Hang on, let me get this straight. You said without God, we would be succumbing to our desires, and you would be raping and killing people. So what you're saying is that you have the desire to rape and kill people.
As do you. Have you never felt that the rage to kill someone? Have you never been
all the time, dude? All the time. I'm thinking about it right now. I mean, I don't know how I've managed to get through life with killing so few people.
Yeah, no, I actually don't have the desire.
It's really easy for you to take me lightly and make fun of me like this, but can you actually answer what is keeping you from succumbing to your desires if it's not God?
I don't have the desire to rape and kill people.
Yeah, that would probably be it.
I don't believe you. By the way, Don Exodus, you're a sellout. You're a sellout prick. You used to be a Christian, and shame on you.
And I'm a whore. And I'll drink for that.
Well, considering that this is coming from somebody who has a desire to rape and kill people, I'm not.
You got anything else for us, Oliver?
Is that the best you could come up with, Oliver?
Yeah, come on, keep going, Oliver. Make it hard.
We're getting them all tonight. I dread to take the next caller. You don't know what's coming up.
I actually didn't mind him. I think you know.
I thought it was fun as well. Come on.
Oliver. All right, as a serious point,
it's to you, Ahab.
As I'm bringing in the next caller, what do you think is we hear the argument time and time again, without God we would have no morals. What do you think is the most persuasive argument that people could use against that argument?
Evidently, we do have morals.
And evidently, the people promoting God very often don't.
Yeah, I mean, okay, well, look, it's the bottom line is that it's an antisocial behavior. We are a community-oriented species. The strength of our community, we can get more done, and our species is better off if we work as a group. And behaviors which are antisocial and decrease the fitness of our group, like rape and murder, are frowned upon for those reasons, because our society and us as a species is less fit. So that is why it is bad to do so. That, and it's just kind of mean.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
what he said.
And yeah, so fuck that guy. Anyways, good.
Anyway, we've got the next caller in, and I've got confidence in believing that this is not a troll, but we could be wrong. Jack.
Hi.
Fuck.
Can you hear me okay? Or
Hi,
no?
Jack.
Okay, good. You can hear me okay. I don't know how I'm going to be able to top the next caller, but I will do my best to be able to do that.
Wait, you don't know how you're going to top the next caller?
Crap.
Go ahead.
I'm secretly a time traveler. Don't tell anybody. Well, do you guys know about P.Z. Myers and Dictionary Atheists, what he calls them?
Yeah, apparently I am a dictionary atheist.
Yeah,
I
so
have
am I.
not explored any other belief systems. PZ and I really got to have a chat about this.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm not familiar with it. Can you explain it to people who are
Sure. P.Z. Myers talks about what he calls dictionary atheists, like when you see Matt Dillahunty get up and say, what's the proof and evidence that atheism is accurate and correct? Well, he says that's a non-question because atheism isn't an ideology. It's just a non-belief in something. P.Z. Myers thinks that's bullshit, and he doesn't want us to go along with that, which I think is unfortunate.
So he asserts it is a belief?
He asserts that it's an ideology, I think. He takes it seriously. It's more of like an anti-theism kind of a thing you see with Christopher Hitchens.
Right.
But,
Anti-theism is an ideology. Atheism isn't.
P.Z. Myers thinks atheism should be more of an ideology, should be more of a philosophical stance. And
it is. I would call it rationalism.
Yeah, I like what Aaron Ra calls it. He calls it empirical rationalism. I love that. So,
But I mean, at the same time, I'm not a non-stamper, though.
Oh.
Does that?
Wait a minute, you cut out a little
bit.
bit.
Argument. Yeah, no problem. If you don't collect stamps, I mean, do you refer to yourself as a non-stamp collector, or no? You just don't collect. I mean, there's no. I mean, that's sort of how it is with me. Now, if you want to be an anti-theist, well, to me, that's an activity as opposed to, and more of a mindset as opposed to just a lacking of belief. I mean, to me, I think that they're two different things.
Yeah. Tell P.Z. Myers that because I think he does the same thing that Dawkins does, where he just wants to take the most popular label and just capitalize on it. I think that's what he does, and I'm glad to see that you guys don't want to do that because it's kind of silly. I think. Just my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think that there's. I mean, it's one is your belief, the other is. Oh, wait, I guess there are two separate questions. One is, do you believe in a god? The second question would be, how do you view theism, or how do you view religion?
Yeah.
I mean, to me, there are four possible answers, and you can, not believe in a god, and I mean, just not really care too much about religion at the same time.
Yeah.
But you could also be druidic or shaman and not have a god in your belief system, but be very religious.
Just P.Z. Myers doesn't understand these technicalities, but I can sort of see where he's coming from. Also, I had something else I wanted to ask. If that's okay.
No, you were forbidden the question.
Damn it!
I thought you could see the future. You should have known the answer to that. No, of course you can.
No, you exposed me. Do you think I can still qualify for James Randi's $1 million? You laugh at me. Oh, I'm sad now. Well, no, it's I was at a party last week. I have a friend who is an extreme Calvinist. Like, oh my God,
that's a lie, dude.
No.
You were at a party last week. Go ahead, though.
Yes.
You don't have a friend.
No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead. Sorry.
You're not coming to any of my parties, that's for sure.
Well, just playing with you. Go ahead, man.
Well, no, I know. Okay, so I was at a get-together party last week with my extreme Calvinist friend, and he had a lot of his other extreme religious folks around, and so one of the things he brought up was the morality issue. You know, the dumb, stupid, without God, you can't be moral, you can't justify morality. And then I sort of brought up, well, no, I mean, there are certain principles that are intrinsic to reality. Reason manifests itself in some way. And the retort of several people there was all beliefs are founded on circular reasoning. And to prove this, he said, can you prove reason without using reason? And I wonder if you guys like to comment on that.
Yeah, it works. I mean, we're talking through microphones, we're using cameras. I mean, that's all based on science and reason. I mean, to me, the product itself is a demonstration that it works. I mean, that's the thing. There's that poster. It says science. It works, bitches. You know what I mean? Like, that's, to me, the fact that you can predict and then get an outcome out of it that's useful. That to me is enough evidence of its utility. So. And efficacy.
That's what I thought too, but they weren't satisfied with that. They actually think they trumped me. They also brought up Euthyphro's dilemma. They think they trumped that too. They said it was a false dilemma, that nonsense about God's character, and that didn't work either. But these people won't listen, so I don't even know why I went. But yeah, they showed me other guns afterwards. That was intense. Seriously, like they had 9 guns apiece. Holy shit. Oh well.
Yeah. I have guns. Actually, I have a gun right here.
All the armor-piercing cyanide-tipped, caseless Teflon rounds.
No. But these guys had like guns coming out of every
duck hunting
or shit like that. It was insane. Oh well, it's just my thing. So maybe I'm just weird around guns or something like that.
I mean, there was an interesting point that was made before about how atheism is associated with the left wing. With guns and violence, I see the strong connection with the right wing and religion. There we go. Was there anything else?
In the same vein that you say that, I mean, Donnie here has his gun in hand. Show it to us again. Show us your gun again, Donnie.
Wait, I actually have 2. Wait, there are 2 here, and there's another one right here.
Okay, do you have 9 guns? Because one of these guys had 9 guns.
No, but I do have a 9, son.
Okay, I can only boast a half a dozen.
Right. Okay. So, where does this fit into the left DPR? Where does owning guns and being a religious right nutter fit together?
Well, it's the same way that, like, in my opinion, at least, every family values Republican is a closet homosexual until proven otherwise.
That's a good assumption.
I was going with the puns here.
Before I go, I just wanted to ask Aaron, how's your granddaughter doing? Is she doing okay?
She has recovered completely beyond any of the textbooks. They said they couldn't hope for a better recovery. It was almost without incident. It is a faster recovery than they normally mark. She, at this point, is starting to grow back eyebrows and eyelashes, and you can just barely see little bits of hair on coming back on the top of her head. And that's quite astounding when this was a relapse of leukemia, and it was an adult leukemia, and they said that she had initially a 20% chance of survival.
Wow.
So
well, that's great news, and perhaps we should pray to the good Lord and thank him.
I knew that was going to happen. I can see the future.
Yeah. Don't worry about thanking the doctors. Just pray to the good Lord for the deliverance of a miracle. No, but seriously, Aaron, that's very, very good news.
Yeah, congrats.
I'm sure everyone will reflect that with a thumbs up in the chats.
Yeah.
But thanks very much for the call, Jack. I'm going to leave you because we've got a few more people waiting.
Yep, you guys are awesome.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Have a good one.